Hello, everybody. All right, welcome to the Mikestand. Today is Thursday, January the 18th. So we're the last of our niche newscast days this week. I'm going to give it a few minutes to give people a chance to come in before we talk about what's on tap for tonight. If you haven't already, of course, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and/or ask questions, and we will talk. And I'll try to, um, and I will of course um, try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, as I said, we're just waiting a few minutes to see if we can get some more people in here. Let's see now. Just do this real quick. On the mesa, where the cowboys roam, everyone goes by the code of the West. Ah, let's see. Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm strong to the finish when I eat my spinach. Popeye the Sailor Man. Let's see. Let's see now. What else can we find here? Hong Kong Fooey, number one super guy. Hong Kong Fooey, quicker than the human eye. Chicka chong, chicka wong, wong, wong. Hong Kong Fooey, that's terrific. Let's see. Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Come on, Scooby Doo, I see you. Pretending you got a sliver. All right, so we're at the 3 minute mark, so I'll go ahead and go over what's on tap for tonight. So tonight, we are going to. I have actually two articles we're going to go over. First, from Bleeding Fool, we're going to go over, of course, the. Going to go over the. Going to go over the Indie Comic Showcase article from Chris Braley. Kind of get you guys caught up on some recent releases coming out soon. Also tonight, we're also going to be going over after we get done with the Indie Comic Showcase. We're going to be heading over to Bounding into Comics to look at the latest revelations about Jimmy Markey um, and her script writing work for Funimation. Of course, we'll also have this day in or we'll have the wrestling wrap up and this day in each history as well. So with that, why don't we go ahead and get started here? Let's get right into the first article we're going to go over tonight. It is from Bleeding Full, which is, of course, the Indie Comic Showcase. So there we go with that. All right, so let's see now. Indie Comic Showcase number 257, finale. The Hollow Raven and Relentless Tin Soldier. Article by Chris Braley, published yesterday, January 17, 2024. All right, so welcome back to another installment of the Indie Comic Showcase, the weekly blog where we signal boost a few truly independent comics and that are currently crowdfunding their projects, crowdsourcing their funding in some way, or just completely self-publishing on their own. Every little bit of support for these creators matters, from a single dollar pledge to the $25 bundle, and of course, the higher tiers are usually fun too. Even if you can't back a campaign or buy a book, you can share or tweet about these projects to your friends and followers. On Indie Comic Showcase, we interview the creators, show off some art, and tell you how you can check out the product for yourself. Below, we have some outstanding crowdfunding campaigns this week for you to learn about, enjoy, and hopefully support by backing one or more of them. Thanks for checking these out and for being the best part of Indie Comic Showcase. Let's jump in. All right, so let's see. Compendium of the Unmasked, The Hollow Raven by Lindsay Lee. We will get into it and see if anybody's on here yet. Nope. All right. Again, if you guys haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, and if we get some more friendly people to engage. Also, if anything here crosses your anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So with all that, first off, so what's the name of this comic again? So we can put it in all caps here. Compendium of the Unmasked, Hollow Raven. So let me get that into the chat, into the thing here. She set it up. They set it up like that. Okay. So there's the link for this first article we're going to go over. If you guys want to go check that out. I want to go check out that project out. There it is for that one. Leave it up for a moment before we get back to the article. All right, so all that being said, let me go ahead and. All right, so Compendium of the Unmasked, the Hollow Raven by Lindsay Lee. All right, so Chris Braley, welcome to Indie Comic Showcase, Lindsay. What is your elevator pitch for the Hollow Raven? Lindsay Lee. From the Compendium of the Unmasked comes a thought-provoking tale of terror with rich storytelling and finely detailed artwork to bring the pages to life. Across the Terra, the beast of prey rule, a new era has begun. Isolated from the rest of the world, the citizens of the Lost Lands are vanishing without a trace. Those who remain are stalked by watchers of the day and hunted down by creatures of the night. What will become of all who are forced to live in this nightmare? Chris, where did the idea come from? Or where did the idea for this comic come from? Lindsay, the idea for the Hollow Raven definitely originated from my love for the horror genre. It is where I always wished to make my mark. I had an interest in Victorian aesthetic, poetry, riddles, and the historical era of plague doctors. Um, from there, I began the script as a passion project during my teenage years, then chose to self publish it as an adult due to the freedom it brings. Now, just a reminder, of course, this is a campaign you can find on Fund My Comic. If you guys want to, that's where the link will take you to the Fund My Comic site. This is a reminder there. Let's see. With that, as we continue on here. All right. So, Chris, what sort of reader is this aimed at? Lindsay, The Hollow Raven is a character driven horror story that spreads across a multitude of genres, including psychological, mystery, crime thriller, action, science fiction, monster horror, supernatural, and heroic elements. That classic comic readers can enjoy. It is atmospheric and packed with poetry and riddles that will keep you wondering what's next. I also believe those who are interested in horror games will find it particularly intriguing. Yeah, I guess she calls it the Hollow Raven, and from the sound of it, I would almost wonder if maybe she used some of Edgar Allan Poe's prose and all that. Be kind of interesting to ponder. I'm gonna take a look at it. Uh, Chris, the artwork is very unique and intriguing. Tell me a bit about your creative process. Lindsay, in order to pursue my comic career, I spent years writing scripts, world building, and learning both oil and digital painting techniques. Um, Having a completed script prepared has allowed me to focus primarily on drawing and painting. Due to this, I can release volumes at a faster pace. Some interesting detail there. And kind of looks creepy. Chris, did anyone else help you with this comic? Lindsay, I am a solo comic creator, so I am responsible for completing all of my projects alone. My mother and brother have assisted me with delivery and funding before the launch of my first campaign, so I am immensely grateful to them. Hopefully, that can inspire others who find themselves in a similar situation. Simply takes a lot of patience and determination. True enough. Well, anything worth doing it takes a lot of patience and then determination, right? Anything that you deem worthy, takes patience and determination. Any project. Um, Chris, this is a series, correct? How far along is the production? Lindsay, currently two of the seven volumes are complete and up for sale. I am now working on a side series titled Night Visions, in quotes, which will release alongside Volume 3 to introduce new readers. Chris, what have you learned from self publishing and creating through this? Lindsay, I've learned a lot. I've learned a great deal about crowdfunding and publishing since I first began, most of which are creative ways to add various perks and improve promotional art, etc. Chris. Let me go back up a sec. Hmm. All right. There's something about this art just grabbed my attention. Um, Here it is. Chris, what are your plans beyond this book? Lindsay, I've spent the last decade writing scripts, which has left me with many stories to tell. Once I finish my seventh volume for The Hollow Raven, I have another series lined up. My upcoming side project, Night Visions, will be a glimpse into my future plans. Sounds like quite an industrious and busy young woman there. Chris, any special features in this book you'd like to highlight? Lindsay, aside from having 13 individual issues ready to ship, the series has additional perks such as art prints, trading cards, dog tags, film reels, much more, all of which are beautifully hand packaged. It looks magnificent. Anything else you care to mention before we sign off? Lindsay, if you are looking for a suspenseful horror comic with a unique art style and many twists um, and turns, I do hope you will consider supporting The Hollow Raven. I promise to always produce high quality work. All right, then. So there we go. Finale by Travis Corwin. Let me go grab that link. Oh, this is from his site itself. Right, finale by Travis Corwin. So this is, and I'm about to put the link up for this title. All right, and here's the next one here. Finale by Travis Corwin. Here's a link, and this link I guess is to his own site, believe it or not. So Travis, I guess, is self-publishing this book. So I'm gonna go check it out. There's the link for it. Um, and again, I remind everybody, if you haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So here we go. Finale by Travis Corwin. Chris Braley. Welcome to Indie Comic Showcase, Travis. What can you tell me about Finale? Travis Corwin. In the aftermath of an apocalyptic event, a lone woman named Asa um, must venture um, must venture across the dangerous landscape to deliver a mysterious message. But when a figure from her past emerges to threaten the mission, how far will she go in the name of hope? Finale is a 28-page one-shot comic written by Travis Corwin and illustrated by Philip Ginn, with twisty Twilight Zone-esque revelations and moral quandaries. It's a story that's sure to keep you guessing and stick with you long after you finish reading. All right, and quite an intro there. All right, so Chris, what inspired this story and led to your decision to self-publish? Through Travis, throughout 2020, while sheltering in place due to COVID, um, I was thinking a lot about the role an artist could play in a world gripped by crisis. What kind of art do people need? Do they even need it at all? These questions eventually crystallized into the presence for a premise for finale. Although it is a standalone, self-contained story, finale is part of a larger universe of loosely connected stories that I have been building up to over several years. Um, after talking with publishers, it became clear to me that self-publishing would be the best way for me to ensure that I could realize my complete vision for finale and future releases without compromise. All right, all right. Continuing on here, Chris, who is it aimed at? Travis, finale is aimed at mature, though not necessarily adult, comic readers who are looking for something different and surprising. This story will appeal to fans of The Twilight Zone and the HBO series Station 11 for its intriguing moral questions and twisty plot reveals. Hmm. It sounds like it's the comic that on some level wants to make you think a little bit. So, Chris, tell us about your creative process, Travis. Travis, um, every one of my projects starts with an initial idea that I think of as a seed. The seed could be anything from a single image character, story beat, etc. But it is potent enough that it contains all the DNA for what will eventually grow into the full story. Kind of nice little science biology play there. The rest of the process, from writing the script to overseeing the artwork, is about protecting the integrity of that original seed and trying to nurture it into the best version of itself that it can be. Let's see. Chris, who else contributed to this project? Um, Travis. Philip Ginn did all the art, including cover, interiors, and lettering. He and I first met at a con, and I had him create a cover for another book. Based on that experience, I knew that I liked working with him, and I was confident that he would do a good job on finale, which he did. Chris, what have you been learning about creating throughout this process? Um, Travis, as a writer who is not an artist, I have learned to find artists that I trust and give them the freedom to interpret um, the work in their own way. In my um, in my scripts, I do my best to communicate the intention for each page panel, but choices for visual storytelling I will usually leave up to the artist. The result is almost always going to be better than if I insist on my own visual ideas. Chris, any plans beyond this book? Are there more stories to tell? Um, Travis, I have several projects in various stages of development. Right now, I'm focused on telling individual stories, but it's fun for me to also build them into an interconnected universe. That's always fun. And I hope that readers will find it rewarding to discover the connections along the way. The next book that will likely be released is actually the first script that I wrote, a 78-page graphic novel called The Canary That Named the Stars, which is currently being illustrated by Art Stewart. He's got some books coming down the line. Woohoo! Um, any special features associated with this project? Um, let's see. Travis. I was a musician before I started writing comics. The stories actually started as inspiration for song lyrics. Because of that, the comics that I'm writing have music to go with them, and Finale is no exception. I wrote and recorded it with my progressive rock band, Antimode, and you can listen to it on our Bandcamp here. So let me grab that then. If you guys want to hear the soundtrack to Finale, want to hear the soundtrack to Finale that he put together. Here's a link for that. So here's I guess the link to the soundtrack he put together for this comic book. If you guys want to check that out. And we of course continue on with this. Let's see, Chris. That's great, Travis. Any final comments? Travis, if you give it a shot, I guarantee that the story will surprise you. All right. So now we get to the final story, Relentless Tin Soldier 3 and Kid Theory by Nicholas Gear. Go grab that link. And this one looks like it's an Indiegogo. All right, so there's the link for this particular one there. If you guys want to go check that link out, it's an Indiegogo project. Let me see. Leave it up there for a moment for you guys to gaze at it, and then now. All right, so Relentless, Tin Soldier 3 and Kid Fury by Nicholas Gear. All right, Chris Braley. Welcome back to Indie Comic Showcase, Nicholas. Give our readers a quick overview of who the Relentless Toy Soldier is, or Tin Soldier is. Nicholas Gear, Benjamin Pearson, a rookie cop who sets out to take down the most influential crime family plaguing Minneapolis, the Coletta family. As expected, an organization with so much influence was not going down without a fight, and to stop him, the Coletta family might just have inadvertently created the one hero that can bring their criminal organization to a halt once and for all. Kid Fury is a Golden Age sidekick ripped through time and dropped into the middle into modern day, with no mentor to guide him and revenge in his heart. Sounds like a multi-level story here. Chris, tell our readers what inspired you to self-publish this series. Nicholas, Relentless Tin Soldier was originally going to be produced and pitched to Image, but after finding Billy Tucci's YouTube channel, I realized self-publication was an option with the help of crowdfunding. So Billy Tucci was the one who introduced him to the idea of crowdfunding. I bet Billy's happy about that. Chris, what age and type of reader is this aimed at? Nicholas, it's PG-13 and made for fans of classic Silver Age comic mixed with some 90s nostalgia. Chris, who is your creative team on this installment? Nicholas, um, Relentless Tin Soldier 3 features covers by Andrew Mangum, Alan Goldman, and Eli Five Stone, and features interior art by Mike McMahon. Look to that a little bit slower for you guys to count some of the art there. Good black and white art going there. Some good inkings or some good penciling and inkings there, I guess. Chris, how far along are the books? What's their current state of production? Um, let's see. Nicholas, both Tin Soldier 3 and Kid Fury's pencils and inks are done with Kid Fury already being fully lettered. Okay, I thought this was all one book, but apparently they're focusing on two books here. I didn't even realize that. Um, I think he's promoting two books here instead of one. Okay, that's interesting. Um, we just need help getting both books colored and printed. That's what this campaign provides. Okay, so yeah, he did say it's two books. All right. Fighting villains with a fork. Now that's that's kind of interesting. I got a huge fork there. Oh, and that guy looks kind of like Arnold from the Tick. Oh boy, he looks like the Tick sidekick right there. You got I think his name was Arnold or something like that. Ah, Chris, this isn't your first rodeo in crowdfunding. What have you been learning from crowdfunding through this process. Nicholas, I think you supposed to mean this, not the. This is my fourth campaign, and I've learned promotion is one of the biggest factors, along with regular updates on the progress of your books to keep the backers updated and engaged. Chris, this is the third issue. Are there more stories to tell? Um, Nicholas, relentless. Tin Soldier's story, first story arc, um, is 5 issues, but I plan on continuing his story as long as possible. Chris, good luck, Nicholas. We're rooting for you. All right, so that's it for this installment. If you're a creator ramping up your own campaign or have a comic available for purchase online and you want to be featured in our weekly column, click here. And follow Indie Comic Showcase on Twitter at Indie Comics and reach out to them for more eyes on your crowdfunding comic project. Until next time, support Indie Comics. Alrighty then, so there we go with that one. As I said, we're going to actually do 2 stories tonight. But I do want to try to go a little longer. But before we get to the next one, let me just one more time here go through the links we just shared. So there's the link for Compendium of the Unmasked, The Hollow Raven, Lindsay Lee's book. If you guys want to check that out. Here's the link for Finale from Travis Corwin. Here's a link to the soundtrack to Finale from Travis Corwin and his progressive rock band Anti-Mode. You guys want to go listen to that? And then here is the link to Nicholas Gear's Relentless Toy Soldier 3 and Kid Fury. So 2 books he's promoting there. So you guys want to check all that out? Free to do so. Let me just do something else here. All right, so with that now, we're going to now go on to our next story here from Bounding into Comics. We're going to look at the latest in the whole localization story going around, as some more stuff is resurfaced about Amy Markey at this also bragging about how she just made Penny and Stocking into a total swear fest. So we're going to look at that article right now. Okay, and of course, as always, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So let's get into this article now. Resurfaced video shows former Funimation scriptwriter Jamie Martin. Now, I don't know if that's because it was, because I don't know if that's because former Funimation, as in what was used to be known as Funimation, now Crunchyroll, or if she's no longer a scriptwriter with them, she's just a voice actress. I'm not sure about that, but anyways, moving on. Jamie Markey proudly touting wild changes made to Penny and Stocking English dub. Quote, "You want it to be different and original," unquote. No, I don't think people. That's what people want when you're adapting scripts. But I first heard of this story from actually Vera Dark. She was covering it earlier today, so of course I feel I added in here since we've been following this kind of story for a while now. Article by Nerdigans Inc. Um, over the past 3 weeks, almost month now. I guess this stuff's been going on. January 17th. All right, so hot off the heels of her infamous dub of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid becoming the focus of yet another round of localization discourse, a video has resurfaced showing Funimation scriptwriter Jamie Markey proudly boasting about the massive changes she made to the English script of Penny and Stocking with Garter Belt. It is just kind of funny how these people think they have the right. It's kind of funny how Jamie Markey in particular feels she has the right to, just because she's a woman, she could take somebody else's property and just so alter it. But let's continue on here. Produced by Studio Trigger predecessor Gainax, Penny and Stocking with Garter Belt is a 2010, so going back 2010, that's like 14 years ago, action-packed comedy anime that revolves around the misadventures of the titular Anarchy sisters, Penny and Stocking, a pair of angels whose constant bad behavior eventually gets them booted out of heaven and banished to the ghost-plagued Dotton City. Once there, the two are tasked with using their magical transforming lingerie weapons to defeat a number of Dotton City's evil spirits, as doing so will earn them the special Heaven Coin currency they need to buy their way back home. All right. The topic of Penny and Stocking with Garter Belt's English dub was first raised in regards to the latest localization discourse, courtesy of its lead English dub scriptwriter and Penny voice actor herself, Markey. So again, this is somebody who is also delivering the lines that she's writing. Getting to kind of dictate what she wants to say. Essentially taking somebody else's work and basically changing it. Hey Rick, thanks for popping in. If you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage, that'd be appreciated. So with that, also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the question to the best of my ability. So, anyways, as we ready to kind of move on here. On January 8th, which is 10 days ago, mind you, offering her own take on the discourse, Lupin III, prison of the past video technician, Kalen Salcedo, dismissively asserted that fans unhappy with the English localization industry's constant butchering of Japanese works and declare we're acting as if, quote, writing a word you didn't like was akin to war crimes. Okay, now for those of you who don't know, Kalen Salcedo, also known as Mars Girl, she was another one. She was actually the one who kind of lit the match, as it were, on the whole try to burn Vic Mignogna to the ground bit a few years ago. So, but let's see. In turn, Markey taunted, quote, if they're really so upset about quote unquote literal translations, Can you imagine how much they'd freak out if they ever watched Penny and Stocking? Well, as I understand it, as I've heard it, as I guess the problem with the Penny and Stocking dub in question, apparently Jamie turned it into a full on swear fest, cuss word fest, and that was again not what the creator of the manga originally intended. She once again took severe creative liberties with a project that was not hers to take creative liberties with. That's the issue. Let's see. From there, Marky was met by a comment from Twitter user at LuponFan83, wherein they mocked, quote, all these trolls over a sentence, in brackets, referring to her patriarchy edit of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, unbracketed. They'd lose their minds if they watched ghost stories. Now, in all fairness, the thing about ghost stories, yes, that one was, but the thing was, in that particular instance with ghost stories, the creator and the publisher gave their permission for them to do whatever they want with it. Okay? And Ghost Stories was also done by at the time, ADV films. Okay? In these other cases we're talking about, neither the creator nor the publisher really gave her permission to do what she did. Okay? But when it came to Ghost Stories, because she likes to, she's going to use to clear this up for everybody. Ghost Stories, when it was in Japan, was not really that successful. It was okay, but it didn't. It actually became more popular because of the English dub, because of what they did. But in that particular case, they actually had permission from the creator and the publisher and the producers to actually mess with it the way they did. That's why you're not. That's why I don't think you're going to hear people say anything about Ghost Stories, because the point is, it's not the fact that she changed the words, or changed the content of the meaning. She did it without the real issue is she did it without the permission of the creators. When it comes to Dragon Maid, when it comes to Miss Kobayashi Dragon Maid, when it comes to even Penny and Stocking, she did these basically without the permission of the creator to do it that way. With Ghost Stories, they actually did have the creator. And the thing is, what you also have to remember, as far as I know, I don't believe Jamie was even a part of Ghost Stories at all. Actually, no, she may have had a voice role in that because she, she may have lent her voice, but she was not involved in the production of that, of the dub production of that. So, nobody talks about Ghost Stories in this because the producers of the anime and I guess the creator gave their permission for them to do whatever they want with it, and in that particular case, with the producers and the creators' permission, it actually ended up being more successful in the States than it was in Japan. So she wants to point that out. Let's see. For context, when given the Western... Okay, so in fact, what I just said, of course, that was the next paragraph here. Essentially, I think I just did a quick read. It's basically, for context, When given the Western rights to produce an English dub for Studio Pierrot's 2001 anime adaptation of Toru Tsunemitsu's children's series, Ghost Stories, localization studio ADV Films was given nearly free rein to do as they pleased with the script by network owner Fuji TV. So there you go. Again, basically what I said. There are only rules as recalled by voice actor Greg Ayres, who himself provided the dub performance for the series Leo Kakenoki. And of course, Greg Ayres is quite a well-known voice actor out of the Texas area for both ADV and for both the Houston crowd and the Dallas crowd. The ADV Films crew were that, quote, we couldn't change the names of any of the characters. We could not change how the ghost was killed, and we couldn't change the meaning of that episode. So there were some ground rules set, but they still had to play. They could essentially do whatever they wanted. But there you go. As such, the ADV Films recording sessions were absolutely off the rails, resulting in one of the most fever dreamish and nonsensical dubs of all time, and a subsequent existence as a cult classic. Yep. Let's see. Quote, Ghost Stories, Shin-chan, Crayon Shin-chan, Penny and Stocking with Garterbelt, unquote, further declared Markey, before passively aggressive opining that, quote, probably only the last one would make them angry, since that's the only one I worked on. Again, Ghost Stories doesn't make anybody angry because, as we just saw, the studio that owned it gave permission for them to work on it. People wouldn't be saying anything if the creator or the people who owned the property came out and said, hey, go ahead and do what you want with it. But to everybody's knowledge, that did not happen with Penny and Stocking with Garterbelt or with Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Now, as for Shin-chan, Shin-chan, the Funimation dub of Shin-chan, as compared to what it probably was probably a little bit more adult. I don't know if there was any issue brought up with that over it, because it was, I think, much like Ghost Stories, I think it was more of a kid's show. So, but again, I don't know the background on as much on that. If I don't even know if they actually they may have gotten permission to do with Shin-chan what they did with like they did with Ghost Stories, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, that's just. Let's see. The Dragon Ball Super voice actor further inflamed tensions during a subsequent exchange with another fan, itself beginning when she opined of her critics, quote, I enjoy how they always pluralize, quote, these lines when they can only come up with one example, unquote. Yeah, Jamie just seems like somebody who's just like, I don't know, she just seems like she's unhappy with her life or something like that. It's like, I don't know if I don't know if just getting into it with the fans like this is just releases some kind of, I don't know, serotonin or whatever in her brain or whatever. But she's just one of those people who just does not seem happy with her life, and when she gets criticized, that unhappiness seems to abound even further. Replying to Markey at Moodslayer95, then asserted, quote, you'd think with the amount of spit and vinegar they're spewing, they would have chosen a line said by Toru or Kobayashi during pivotal plot moments or something. Let's see. At that point, choosing to add more fuel to the fire, Marquis then mocked, quote, well, they haven't watched, in brackets, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and I don't think a lot of people will now because of that line, because they know that you changed it. So, or if they are going to watch it, they're going to probably watch a fan dub, more than likely. So they only know what they've been directed to be angry. Well, no, I'm sure that some people, I'm sure that there are people, because we're now even hearing that people over in Japan are starting to talk about this. Okay. Oh, she changed it like that? That's not even how the story goes. If they really want to be mad, they should watch Penny and Sagi. Sounds kind of more like a self-projecting statement there. Uh, Unwilling to let the baseless antagonization stand. Okay, let this baseless antagonization stand. It says stands there, but should say stand. Fans went digging through archives of various materials, from tweets to interviews to panel appearances, in search of any information regarding her approach to Penny and Saki Carter. So she said, well, I love how people love to pluralize this stuff when they can only find one example. Well, first up, most people know of two examples because it's not just that, but it's also the Gamergate line in prison school. So there's two examples right there. And now, all you've done is you just upset a whole bunch of people to where they'll now go looking for more examples. Oh, only one example? Only two? Hey, here's another one. What do you have to say about this one, Jamie? Soon thereafter, a video was uncovered revealing that Markey had not just explicitly spoken to the topic of the series' English dub during its 2012 Anime Expo panel, but outright boasted about how much she changed. So she took it even one step further. That not only she boasted about it. So, as seen in the video during the Q&A portion of the panel, Markey is asked for insight into her decision to overload Penny and Stocking with Gardabelt's English script with curse words, to which she explains, quote, the reason a lot of those words are in there is because you want to be different and original. So again, this is another way she's trying to justify taking somebody else's property without their permission and changing it to fit her own needs, to fit her own desires there. I have often talked about certain people out there who, when they talk, it seems like the only way they feel confident in being able to get their point across is to have either every other word or two out of every three words be a swear word, right? The more I read some of Jamie's comments here, the more she sounds like one of those type of people. Apparently, she seems to lack the intelligence to have a better vocabulary than just relying on just cussing everybody out anytime they don't agree with her. It's a case of, I guess, and I was just corrected. I guess this is more of an aphorism from Ben Franklin. Sometimes it's better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and lose all doubt. Okay, Jamie would seem to be another one of those individuals who exemplifies that statement. So, quote, when there's a lot of swearing, you tend to get desensitized to it, especially as a culture. We are much more desensitized to F-bombs. But should we be? I mean, you know, it's like, okay, if, well, I mean, if you let the F word come out of your mouth, okay, and of course the full term is fornication under carnal knowledge, does that mean then you will, become looser in looser in your actions as well? It can actually lead to that, you know. As I've said before, and as has been stated in the Bible, of course, as human beings, we can justify any behavior, good or bad. Okay, so but should that be something that we should really be proud of, though? That something is becoming desensitized to the use of swear words. Is that? Do you really think that is progress? Do you really think that we are a more intelligent individual or more reasonable people when we have to use swear words to get our point across? Just something to think about. Anyways, continuing on with the article here. Quote: So mixing it up a little bit made it more interesting, and you never knew what people were gonna say. We tried to keep the spirit of the offensiveness and cleverness, which is what makes it so charming. Really? Oh boy. If you're replacing the dialogue with a bunch of swear words just to sit there and make a point about, oh, we can swear all we want, then I don't think you're really adding anything to it. And Jamie's there, and I recognize Monica there. I don't know who else on that panel, but not gonna go. I mean, I may go back and look at it later. I may go back and look at that, but or at least see who was all there. But anyways, in the interest of fairness, it should be noted that later on in the panel, Markey claimed that she chose this approach to the series dub script because she had allegedly, quote, received an email from, in brackets, Penny and Stocking original creator, to make, in brackets, the script as offensive and filthy as possible within the realms of the United States law, and to put as much Western terminology using as possible, and then later teach it. Okay. Now with that, then people may, if the creator did give their if the creator did give their, and again, allegedly, the term allegedly, their key word there. But if the creator did allegedly give their permission for that, then then it just comes down to whether or not you still would you still think that, well, is that really my cup of tea? Do I really think that seeing a couple of girls sit there and swear like a couple of drunken sailors is really the way to go, really the way to get a point across? But anyways, continue on here. However, to this same end, it should also be noted that as of writing, Markey's claim exists as the only public mention of this supposed request. Okay, so basically, we have not seen such email, so she's claiming she did get permission to do this. And if that's the case, then I don't think anybody would then have as much of an issue with it. But as far as we know, she's just saying that because, now I don't know if she knew back then, like some of the stuff we'd be talking about now. But, it's almost like maybe at the time she knew she was going to get criticism for it, and she decided, well, I'll just say that, even if it may not be true, and maybe they'll believe it, Um, but there's no confirmation that the creator apparently did in fact give the permission to that. And there we go. There's the end of that story. So with that, we're done with the articles now. So we're already past the hour mark. So hour 5. So now we'll get to the wrestling wrap up. So first off, of course, in some, of course, WWE news, Big E, who's been out for quite some time recovering from a broken neck, is slated to be actually be on Bumped, I guess is the name of the show, with his New Day colleagues, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Wood. It'll be his first appearance on WWF television since his injury. There's another report coming out that in a recent interview, John Cena had acknowledged that his time may be coming up with the he's looking to wind down his in-ring career. There's also been some talk that Randy Orton has commented on possibly having one last singles match with Cena as Cena's retirement match. So a lot, that's a lot of stuff to stay tuned to. Now going on to some AEW news, of course. On last night's Dynamite, we saw Christian Cage retain the TNT title over Dustin Rhodes, in what was said to be a pretty good match. Dustin performed well, even though people realized that Dustin was not going to win the title. Still put on a good performance there. Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta of Chaos defeated Commander and Penta El Zero Medio. And the one title change that happened last night, Bullet Club Gold of the Guns and Jay White defeated the Mogul Embassy of Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony. So you have new Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Champions in Bullet Club Gold with the Guns and Jay White. Deonna Purrazzo defeated Anna Jay in their matchup. Private Party in their first match since making their return as a team, defeated Top Flight. Battle of two very young and up-and-coming teams that looked to have a very bright future ahead of them. And Samoa Joe, in what was said to be a very good match, Samoa Joe defeated Hook, dropping, of course, Hook's AEW record to 29-2. But Hook, made a good accounting of himself in the match. So, and then on tonight's Impact, on tonight's TNA Impact, we will see, of course, Laredo Kid in a 6-way match. You'll see Laredo Kid taking. This is all matches that were taped at the Snake Eyes event in Las Vegas and at the Palms Casino Resort this past Sunday. Laredo Kid takes on Kushida, taking on Mike Bailey, taking on Trey Miguel, taking on Jake Something, taking on El Hijo del Vikingo. In a knockouts match, Zaya Brookside takes on Tasha Steelz. Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian take on the grizzled young vets of James Drake and Zach Gibson. And in the main event for tomorrow night's Impact, Josh Alexander has his rematch with Will Ospreay. So that's all I have for you with a wrestling wrap-up. Of course, I'll probably at some point go over the results of that in the coming week here. But with that now as we wind down the show here, of course, today is Thursday, January 18th, 2024. So let's take a look back. This day meets history. History! 2019 and 2019. All right, so with all that being said, let's go ahead and take a look back at this date. So first, I'm going to head back 30 years ago today. On this date, back in 1994, 30 years ago today, the first issue of Beavis and Butthead, which was an anthology series that was published by Marvel Comics. The first issue of Beavis and Butthead, Marvel Comics, went on sale on this date back in 1994. It sold for $1.95, with 32 pages. So on this date, 30 years ago today, the first issue of Beavis and Butthead from Marvel Comics went on sale on this date back in 1994. Moving ahead to 1999, 25 years ago today. On this date, 25 years ago today, WCW held its Monday Nitro event from the Value City Arena in Columbus, Ohio. The night saw in the main event Bam Bam Bigelow in a three-way match. Bam Bam Bigelow versus Goldberg versus Scott Hall ended in a no contest. In a match for the World Television Championship, Scott Steiner retained the belt over Perry Saturn. Let's see. In a winner gained control of the company hair versus hair match, David Flair defeated Eric Bischoff. So, on this date, 25 years ago today, from the Value City Arena in Columbus, Ohio, WCW held its Monday Nitro event. Now, moving ahead to 2019, as on this date in 2019, the Netflix series Carmen Sandiego and Disney Junior's Giganosaurus both premiered on this date 5 years ago today. On this date 5 years ago today, Netflix's Carmen Sandiego and Disney Junior's Gigantosaurus premiered on this date 5 years ago today. And 2019 is just so nice that we're going to hit it twice. As also on this date, the Made in Abyss, part 2 of the Made in Abyss film series from Kinema Citrus, Made in Abyss Wandering Twilight, premiered on this date in Japanese theaters on this date 5 years ago today. On this date 5 years ago today, Kinema Citrus's Made in Abyss Wandering Twilight premiered in Japanese theaters. So with that, I thank everybody for being here today. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Of course, we'll be back here tomorrow night with Rick Piper as we'll be doing our weekly look back to comics history, doing our historical comic retrospect, in which tomorrow night we will be focusing in on books on sale from Fiction House from books that went on sale from Fiction House in January 1940, including, of course, Jumbo Comic Volume 1, Issue 13, and then Jungle, Fight, and Planet Cons Volume 1, Issue 3. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. I hope you all enjoyed the show, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye!